da. Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Aaron Short, and I'm very, very happy to be joined by the awesome Henning. Is it Pauly or Pauly?
Pauly.
Pauly?
I was going to introduce myself as also Aaron Short, but okay, fine. Spoil the surprise. Fine. My name is Henning
So
Pauly. Yes.
I tell you what, I'll be Henning and you be Aaron, and then we'll see.
Yeah, but if I'm Aaron, then if I'm Aaron, I have to like the Acoustasonic, and that's never going
Oh,
to
it's out of
happen.
the frame now. Martin, it's right behind me. Martin, great guy, love that guy.
I love Martin.
When we say Martin, by the way, we're talking about Martin at Fender, not Martin Guitars. But I love Martin Guitars as well. Okay, this is off to a great start. Now, right now, you should see Henning on the screen, but still hear my voice. Please say hello, Henning.
Hello,
I
Henning.
knew you were going to say that. Now you should see me, but still hear him laughing in the background. Please let us know. There we go. Make sure you can hear that. And here's the main cam with both of us, so you should all see and hear us clearly. Please let us know if there's any issues. I'll just say hi to Music Therapy Laz and Pooh Ninja and Ty Roberts and Sophia. Oh, we got a nice little crowd here today. This is awesome.
Hey,
It
Sophia.
seems that you have fans, Henning.
Well, I told some people to come over here. I don't know if they're fans, but they're most certainly people that watch my channel, which usually are kind of disturbed people. But that's okay. I love them. Without them, I wouldn't have a channel.
This is really awesome. Thanks for joining us. Please post any questions that you have for Henning or myself in the chat, and I'll address them at the relevant times as we go through. But to get started, oh, working perfectly. Awesome. Thank you. Please share this with your friends and invite them in as well. Now, to get started, I won't go into too much detail about your life because I know there's some other interviews around I was watching last night about your whole life and everything. But I would like you just to spend a few minutes talking about where you're from, who you are, and your first experiences, with music. Please.
Okay. Before I say anything about that, you people in the chat, you know that there's the super chat function. And you know that Aaron sitting at home can't go anywhere, is a musician, usually makes money gigging. So use that super chat function because, Aaron needs to eat. All I'm saying. Um, so, me and music, 6 years old, I think, and I had to play piano. And God, did I hate that. Up to the point where a couple of years later, I fake ran away from home to get away from having to play piano, and then I didn't have to play piano anymore. Apparently, I was very good at it, but the only thing that was communicated to me was there's a dot, and that dot means that, and that's when you do it, and do that with your fingers. And music wasn't something that they taught me as this is emotion. This is something that you're supposed to feel, and this means that emotionally. None of that. I hated it. And then when I was I was 15, I didn't understand music as something that gave you anything. It was just there. There was music, but I didn't realize. I mean, I had some records back then, and they were playing, but music wasn't something I experienced as something that gave me something emotional or that uplifted me or whatever. And then my brother gave me the first Bon Jovi album on CD, and I put that in, and that was, Runaway started. And all of a sudden, that was it. My life changed, and I recorded in Britain, which is like a little island over here in Europe, Aaron, just for you, you know. Um, uh, there was a Monsters of Rock festival, and MTV was playing all weekend Monsters of Rock. So I taped that on a VHS, like everything I could tape, and there was Whitesnake and Poison and Aerosmith and all these bands, and that was my playlist. So I started buying those albums, and that's what defined me musically, like 80s rock, hard rock, and started playing at some point. Started playing guitar, had a little acoustic, then electric. Half a year later, worked somewhere, upgraded to an Ibanez Gem flower pattern thing. Started playing in bands, like cover bands, as many people do. And knew early on that that's all I wanted to do. So that's what I did. And then, well, while I was I didn't go to the army. I didn't want to do that. But in Germany, at that point, that was still mandatory. But so I did social service instead. and worked in a rehabilitation center for people with neurological illnesses, driving them around to different doctors, and learned their stories and thought that was really, just some heartbreaking stuff, some friendships that formed there. And then I wrote a rock opera / musical about that. Victor's here. And Ari. Everyone's here. So I wrote a musical about that. And that kind of showed my dad that I was serious and that it was more than just, playing guitar in the band. That really showed him that there was a little bit more to what I was doing. And so he supported me studying music, and then said, well, if you study music, then you better do it somewhere where when you're done, you can actually, make some money. And we all know that's difficult. So we looked at different schools, and then we looked at Berkeley. And, well, many people from Berkeley were kind of goodly. So we flew to Boston, and it's not the Berkeley in California, people.
Ah.
It's Berklee. It's the founder's son, Lee Burke, turned into Berkeley. It's not Berkeley in California. That's a science school. It's in the middle of Boston, and it's the best school for modern music.
Yeah.
So my dad and we flew out there and looked at it, and then half a year later, I flew to Boston and started at Berkeley. And my guitar teacher always said, "Oh, it's going to be nice, and it's going to be a good experience, and you'll be back after one semester." Just a great motivational speech he gave me. And my first semester, in every single class, I had an A+. And I thought, well, maybe second semester is in the cards. And I did 2 majors at Berkeley, contemporary writing and production, which is pretty much being a producer and arranger. So I'm trained for big band, choir, a cappella arrangements, full orchestra, anything really, writing the parts for people and arranging music, what a producer should know, and music synthesis, which is now called electronic production and design, which is pretty much twisting knobs and synthesizers and sequencers, like the whole digital aspect of the music world. So when I'm talking about, a flanger and an LFO on it, I know what that means because I literally studied that. And so I did these 2 majors, which was 9 semesters, and I did that in 3 years. I didn't take the summers off, and I graduated in 2000 with summa cum laude, which means I'm goodly at stuff, I guess. It's just what you tell people that, to get in the door, which is really what Berkeley does. It opens doors. So you tell people, I graduated with a double major from Berkeley with summa cum laude, and then, I don't know, they open the door for you a little bit. Wait, you want me over here? Where do you want me? No, over here. I'm confused. Yes.
Good. You're good.
And then I kind of wanted to go back home, but then my teachers, one that actually won a Grammy, took me out for pizza and said, well, you should really go to LA because you're going to be someone. And I hated the idea. I've never been to LA, but I mean, I never wanted to go. So, but then I did. And God, what a dump.
You don't?
What a horrible place
you
to
don't
be.
like LA?
Well, what's to like?
You must have one thing you like about LA. Don't say leaving it.
Some of the people that I met are amazing people, but it's dirty, it's run down, it's hot, it's in the winter, way too hot in the summer. You stand on the highways all the time, or always. I don't understand. People are there because they have to be there. Because they're in the music industry and they think they have to be there. They make, movies. Yeah, of course, you got to be in LA. But to live, this is not a nice place. Okay? I mean, it really isn't.
Have you been to? Have you been to New York City, where I am right now?
I've been to Manhattan a couple times.
And what do you think of that? I'm interested to know.
I think this is I wouldn't mind that for like a year or something. and definitely for a visit. I can't imagine living there. I mean, I grew up here, actually on the other side of the
Oh,
street.
wow. Okay.
Uh, and there's my parents' house. And I'm looking outside now, and there's literally fields.
Yeah.
I'm looking at fields. There's nothing else.
Yeah. I've
Um,
seen your videos.
so
It's a huge land, right? You've got not many neighbors. You've got the space. Obviously, that's one thing I struggle with doing the YouTube thing now and the music thing. I don't have any space here. So you've got that space to do all this. We need that, don't we? We need that.
I mean, I have my house has, you don't know what that is, 220 square meters times 9, and then
Well,
in
it
square
looks
feet.
big. It
It is, and I still don't have enough space.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do here in New York City. I culturally, New York City is a cool place to be, I think, because anything you want to eat is there, and there's the different parts of the city where the culture changes slightly, and I think it's a very rich environment here in the town. We have 2 places that deliver. Oh, Robin's here. Hey, Robin, wherever you are. 2 places that deliver. One is a mediocre Italian place, and one is like a dinner place that does like Turkish food, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. You can't even get Chinese food delivered. You got to go pick it up. So no, there's absolutely something to be said for that. But I'm from a village in Germany, and I don't need the big city. I do love Boston, or Boston as they say. You can walk everywhere. It's much smaller. I really enjoyed my time there, but I mean, realistically, what are you paying for your apartment?
Probably what your mortgage is. But the thing is, I'm actually very similar. Like, I'm from a small town in the British countryside. My parents have a house with land, a big, huge garden. Well, say huge garden, probably it's all relative, isn't it? But I come from a small place. There was like a field next door. I moved to London because I felt it was a good place to connect. I did a similar thing. I did a music school in London, so I really did that to connect with, to make contacts as much as to learn, and to do gigs. I ended up doing a gig every night there. I moved to New York, do a gig every night. But it's not conducive to being like a producer or a YouTuber, because this room you see me in is like, this is the spare room, which I'm lucky to even have access to. But this is it.
Okay, because let's go back to that. You're saying that's a spare room, so you have an apartment with more than one room.
We have it's a one bed where they've converted the huge living room into a second room, which they shouldn't have really done, but they did it. This one of the old supers did it. So it's like 750 square foot, and the mortgage is.
So here's the thing. I'll guarantee you're paying more than twice what I'm paying for my whole house.
Yeah, so.
I'm less than $1,000 a month.
Right, so we're just under double that probably. So.
Yeah. For my whole house, which is later gonna be mine. It's
yeah.
so.
Yeah. But
I realize,
but like you said, New York is a great place to be. There's connections. There's weddings. I've done gigs like wedding proposals in the park and children's birthday parties. There's a lot of things that you can do here which you couldn't do in the countryside, but you just lack the space.
Absolutely, you'd be. This wouldn't work for you having to gig. I mean, yes, you can. There are people gigging here, but it would be more difficult. But the thing is, you're saying to make connections and all this, but then to what end? The end would always be to be more successful, and to what end? Because as long as you have to live there, you're paying what you're paying to be in a 1-bedroom. So that just would never work for me. I left LA. The ad agency I was working for was kind of closing down, and then the house I was renting was being sold. So I was having to buy a house in LA. Where was it? Way outside. We're talking about 3 to 4 hour drive to get to LA. A house is $800,000. And even if I had the 800,000, which as a musician I would have never had, I wouldn't want to spend that, because then you have no life forever. It just doesn't. It just didn't make sense to me. And I would love to be in Boston, but the apartment we rented, and that was in '97, was a nice 3-bedroom apartment. It was spacious, was beautiful, but it was like $3,000 or something.
Yeah.
And now probably 4 or 5.
Well,
So I'm like, it's just not
let me
happening.
let me start to steer the conversation somewhere else, because this is an important topic, and where you live and cost of living. Obviously, I moved here to do the gig thing, but you started doing YouTube, and the good thing about doing YouTube is you can do it from anywhere, right? You can do YouTube from anywhere.
Yes, let's backtrack a little bit. When I was in LA, really quickly,
Yeah.
I worked at Guitar Center, hated that. And then I started working at an ad agency that I did sell some mixers to, and I wrote jingles. I produced TV spots, the Sunday, 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 and mattress shops and used car dealerships, all the stuff that had to be produced. I did for the ad agency audio as well as video, a little bit less video, but later more. But I did produce music kind of on the side for myself because I had a whole studio. Half of my stuff, half of their stuff that they had bought. And I got a record contract with a small progressive rock label because I did like a prog rock album for fun, really just for me. And then that turned into them hooking me up with James LaBrie and paying for it. And all of a sudden, I did an album with James LaBrie from Dream Theater, like he was singing on my album. And that turned into a second album of that project called Frameshift with Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, and so on. So I all of a sudden had all these like high level vocalists on my albums, and for a couple of years I was a progressive rock / progressive metal artist. And that was all nice and good, but that was in a time when the music industry turned into people stealing and downloading it, and album sales were going down. And since those were projects where I did all the instruments and someone sang, it didn't make sense anymore. And so, but I did that for a while. So before I did YouTube, I produced, I don't know, 20 albums or something. I did a lot of stuff in a short period of time.
So you basically studied production and became a producer while working some other jobs as well. Okay.
Yes, I did. I produced other people's albums and my own, and every album kind of went in a different direction. One of them actually was the rock opera I had written in the hospital earlier on, and so we actually did that. That has Jodie Ashworth, who was on Broadway, Michael Sadler from Saga, James LaBrie, a whole bunch of people on it, called Baby Steps. And so I did that. So I mean, it's some YouTubers go and start the channel, and they do what they do, and they're great, and the channel goes big, and then they want to take their notoriety and their fan base to then take that as a stepping stone to go and start their music career because now they've created a following. I have zero interest in that because I've done this. I've done albums, and I've done the release an album and give 40 interviews for magazines, and it's really cool once you're done with the album. And the third interview is still fun, but then starting with the fourth interview, it's like, okay, the same questions. And I just really want to make more music and not talk about the old music anymore because I don't care about this. I want to create it. I don't care about going out and playing it for a year or talking about it in interviews forever. So that just wasn't my thing. But my point is, a lot of YouTube channels go and then take the people that know the channel, and hopefully they become your fans. Like Rabia is an amazing YouTuber, and I think his band Tosca is where they are because he has the notoriety from YouTube.
Right.
And it doesn't always work because people don't watch us necessarily for our music. I'm pretty sure that a lot of my viewers, I'm stylistically very diverse. I have 110,000 subs or something, but not 110,000 of those people are interested in progressive metal. It's not going to work. Or let's take Jared Dines. Jared is brilliant at what he does. Over 2 million people watch his channel. But do they watch it because they're interested in his music or because they like his sense of humor in what he does? So I think if Jared Dines went out and did a a stand-up comedy about metal drums, metal guitars, if he took his channel as a stand-up on stage, I think he would fill auditoriums. That's why people watch him. But not all of his 2.5 million viewers are interested in him as a musician. So him going out as a musician on stage with a band doesn't necessarily translate to his fans.
So were you making a good living from production before YouTube? Was that paying the bills?
No.
No. So what was
No.
so before YouTube? How were you earning money then?
I wasn't.
Oh.
I mean, for a couple of years, the label paid me a monthly salary to just write whatever I wanted. When I was still in LA, that was fine. But when I came back here, I was teaching guitar. I was showing kids how to play C major five days a week. And for some people, teaching guitar is something they can do. But once you realize, look, there is no way to go up.
Yep.
There's no promoting. You're not going to be guitar teacher first class. Yep. No. It's always going to be that. So financially, there's no way to go other than becoming the head of the music school, which you don't want to do because then you're an administrator. And you teach these kids all this stuff, and then there's a new bunch of kids coming in when they're done or when they move on to college or whatever, and then you start over. And I've done this for 10 years, and starting over with kids again, it's rewarding with some students, absolutely. But bottom line, teaching, once in a while playing a gig. I played a lot of gigs as a bass player, or like a cover gig, whatever. You get $100. I mean, you go home with the bare minimum. I could pay my bills just like any other musician. And then I did production stuff in my studio where I was before I built this house. But I mean, bands can't really afford that because they can't sell their albums anymore because it's all streamed and you don't get money for that. So I was charging like $350 a song, which means spending 10 hours in a room with 5 guys working on the song. So yeah, that's about $35 an hour for the studio and my services and everything. Mix, master, everything. That's about how much I could charge. That's
very affordable.
Yeah.
I'm the same, you see, because you can gig, and some of my friends in the chat will agree with this. You can gig twice a day, every day, but you've hit the ceiling. Where do you go next? Mm-hmm. Unless maybe you get into like a corporate thing or the next. It's very hard to go from that to the next thing, which is why I wanted to start pushing YouTube as another thing. And also that passive income is important, right? Because the videos are always working for you. They're always out there.
The best you can hope for as a musician, or like in what you do, is to get a steady gig.
Yeah.
It's not going to pay necessarily a shit ton more, but a steady gig is exactly that. It's steady money. Yeah. So if you have to look for the 1 gig or 2 gigs a day and constantly look, that acquiring the gigs is probably more than half your time.
Yeah.
And if you had a steady gig like you were in the orchestra pit at a Broadway musical, of course, how many people can get that gig? There's 5? A maximum of probably 10 guitar players in New York who have that gig. Probably more like 5 who have that steady gig, and then they have like, a sub. So,
and if you lose that gig, all your eggs are in one basket. So it all stops.
But I mean, almost impossible to get that gig. But that's the best you can hope for, to have a steady gig. Wait, let me turn this Bing off. So it means you still don't make tons and tons and tons of money, because I would assume that even playing like orchestra pit at a musical, you'll do okay, but you're never gonna be rich.
Exactly. I mean, let's not forget, it's a job. Playing music is totally a job, but it's also an enjoyable job. But you're right. You hit a ceiling, as I keep saying. You hit a ceiling, and you're just like working all the time just to make ends meet. Maybe have a bit more money. You have to really work hard. And I know a lot of guys on the scene here and girls on the scene here that are doing that. And clearly YouTube and things like that is a way to start to earn passive income. So why did you decide to start a YouTube? What was the reason? Was it for that passive income?
Well, sorry, just read Robin saying, "Wow, a parrot is quite a commitment." I'm not gonna continue reading. A parrot is quite a commitment. Yes, Robin, a parrot is quite a commitment. I have no idea where that came from. I haven't been reading the chat, but that apparently is what's happening in the YouTube chat. I bought. I had just built the house and the studio to produce things. So this was never meant as a video studio, which is one of the downsides, because when you see what I'm seeing, it's complete chaos with all the cameras and cables, and it's really bugging me. I want to redo the room to be a video room, not an audio room. But I had bought 2 pedals at Thomann, really, really cheap, and they arrived, and I was like, hey, these are actually good. And I thought, let's make a video about it, because I had a YouTube channel where I posted little videos of my dog peeing on the floor and sending that to Leslie.
Really? You did that?
There's a video
Is
of
it still up there?
oh, look, Leslie. Yeah. It was a private channel, a place to park videos. Okay. It's like, hey, Leslie, you're on vacation. Look what your dog did. That. Or I posted a little lesson of like a lick I did or something, recorded with a webcam, but pretty, private stuff. It was never meant to be, now I start my YouTube channel. But I had uploaded a couple of videos. And Dave is here. Hey, Dave. And thanks for giving the man money.
Oh, thank you, Cheddar. What a great guy. Love that guy.
He is a great guy. Weird looking. I mean, really like, but...
That's cruel. Come on.
But a great guy.
Come on.
So I made 2 videos, but because I had one of my students here who was an amazing player, and I have a studio, so I know how to record stuff, well. People really liked those videos of those 2 Harley Benton pedals, because at that time, any video of those pedals was like someone with an iPhone pointing it at their amp. They were very shitty videos. So people really liked those videos and said, can you do more? Can you do more? So I called up Thomann and said, can you send more of these pedals? Then I found out that they were actually Joyo pedals rebranded. And then I contacted Joyo in China, started working with them, and did this as, on the side, because it was fun to do. And we're musicians. We like being told you did a good job. We like being praised for what we do.
Yeah.
And we'd love it to be for our songwriting capability or playing capability. But if someone's saying that was a good video, hey, endorphins made my day. Bam, let's make another video where people say you're awesome. That changed. Now most comments are hateful, but okay. So I did that, and then for the longest time just tried to get pedals in to make videos and hopefully not pay for them. That was the most that one could hope for. Because what some people don't realize is what you do and what I do is we don't have a shop. We don't go down to the shop, pick up the newest gear that just arrived from Roland, and then put it on the table and advertise it to sell it in the shop. No, we don't have the gear. So just getting in the gear in was a lot of work and still is.
Sorry, let me just interrupt you, because the chat is going crazy. We've got 40 viewers in here, which is awesome. I'll do quick Q&A at the end, because I don't want to keep interrupting you with questions. But if I get a super chat, I have to ask it, because that's obviously the whole reason of a super chat.
Yeah.
First one: where did you find this weird German man, Cheddar Kung Pao? Actually, found him at NAMM. And Ty Roberts. Please ask Henning why and when did he start wearing the crazy sweaters? It's now his trademark. Where do you get those crazy sweaters from?
I actually had a lot of knit sweaters that were not super crazy, but they had these crazy colors and crazy shapes. And I literally actually just liked them, and so bought a whole bunch of them like on sale somewhere, and I liked them. And it was winter, it was cold. And people were like, oh, you're the guy with the ugly sweaters. That started in comments. And so every time they had a sale, I bought a whole bunch more. Crazy little things on them and a big collar and just crazy sweaters. And that's how it started, because people picked up on those things I actually truly liked. And then I found this company in Poland that does these like all print sweaters, and bought a whole bunch of them because I'm like, hey, if people comment on the ugly sweaters, then
Right.
let's give them what they want. And then I started working with the company, and now they send me, all the new models, and I don't get any money from them. I link to them, but I don't have an affiliate deal, so I don't get money. But at least I get, free
Would you
sweaters.
say would you say that's your branding? Like, do you think it's important for a YouTube channel to have specific and branding things, or is that something just happened by?
Yes,
Did it happen by
yes,
accident? Were
yes.
you always thinking from the beginning like I need to brand my channel, or did it just kind of happen naturally
No,
over
no, no, no.
time?
That's all accident.
Okay.
It's all that all happened naturally. Leslie always said on the couch when we watched something, "Oh, that's what she said. That's what she said." So I did that because it's a thing we both do in our personal lives. And then at some point, Robert Baker is sitting next to me, and he's like, penis, because penis. I'm like, oh yeah, right, okay, fine, okay. So I became the penis guy in the weird
Is
sweaters.
that a good thing?
Um,
That could have backfired,
you know,
right?
you know what? I would like for people to say he's the guy that plays really well, or he's the guy with the awesome songs, or he's the guy that. I think in the end, if all that stuff wasn't there, they wouldn't come on a regular basis. They don't just come for sweaters and me saying penis. Okay, but if that makes them remember me,
Right.
there's a lot of YouTube channels now.
Right. A
Uh,
lot. Yeah.
if that makes them remember me, and say, "Oh, it's the guy in the weird sweater that says that's what she said," and makes a sexual innuendos, um, but I also get really good information, and he's got everything I want about the product and a fully produced song and great video quality. Um, I'm pretty sure that the sweaters and the penis alone isn't what makes people come back. But I always said it should be. I treat it a little bit like a sitcom, and by that I mean uh, things that people recognize. People know the names of my dogs. And Leslie, who's next door, switching the video. And sometimes my mom. And for the longest time, we had Kiana in here. So recurring characters.
Right. Right.
Um, and because if you have something informative about, let's not say acoustasonic, no one wants to hear about that, about a Taylor guitar. No, bad, Aaron. Bad, Aaron. Put that down. Bad. You have something informative. That's great for the person looking for that information right now because they want to buy it. But the information alone, if you're very informative, will they come back? What if they're not interested in the next 5 products you have to offer? They're not going to come back for the 5 products they don't want to buy if there isn't more than information on your channel. So if they had a laugh during the Acoustic Sonic video, which of course they will because it's an Acoustasonic, and you made them smile, you made them chuckle, and I don't know, your cat walks in, you kick it out, whatever. If they had fun, then it doesn't necessarily matter if the next product is something they're interested in buying. They want to come back
Yeah.
because they had fun. I have people watching my channel, which I don't understand, that don't even play guitar. Several. They actually started playing guitar because
Well,
they
that's
watched my
good.
channel.
That's good.
No
It has
idea how.
it has to be a
Yeah.
personal connection, right? There has to be a personal through the
Yes.
camera. It has to be a personal connection. I remember. I'm just thinking back to when I started watching your videos because I gradually started to watch YouTube and I watched it more and more and more until I was watching it all the time. That's when I started to do my channel more seriously. And the first thing, honestly, I remember about your channel was because I started watching maybe not right at the beginning. So the production and just the stuff behind you was the first thing I saw. All those, all the amps, we can't see them right now, but all the amps, the wall of amps, as a musician, that's the first thing obviously stuck in my mind. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, that's an impressive collection. So the first thing I noticed was that. And then over time, I got to know you. And as you said, you've had like guests and your family. And now it's become more about that, which is good. And it's good that you've got people watching who don't play and then are learning after the fact. That's a good thing.
When you step in front of the camera and you pretend to be someone you're not, or you're putting on your YouTube persona, I don't think that works. It can, but not if you have to do it every day for 20 or 30 minutes. I make so many videos. It turns into then turns into real work because you are putting on a persona. But I mean, what Victor just said, being relatable, and there's many people that actually know me in real life in the chat right now. Some people say, "Oh, stop acting," or you're just trying to be funny, or this is who I am. Who I am in my videos is exactly who I am in real life.
Yeah.
There is no difference.
I can attest to that from being with you at NAM, Exactly.
Yeah. When the camera's on, I treat the camera like a friend, like you, like Cheddar, like Victor, like Robin. Anyone standing right there, that's how I talk to the camera. And maybe I have an ability to do that because I know that a lot of people don't know how to act in front of a camera. I don't act. I look in the camera and there's my friends. And I know my friends would laugh about a stupid "that's what she said" joke, so I do it.
That's hard when you're starting out. When you're starting out, you don't really, you don't have much of an audience maybe. But the live thing I'm enjoying because it's making that more interactive. It's nice. It's great seeing our friends in the chat here chatting with each other and it makes more of a kind of community joint thing. I'm really enjoying that side. So okay, let's now go right into the whole YouTube thing. Then we've got your background and those things. What's your favorite thing and least favorite thing about making a video, a pre-recorded video? What do you enjoy the most and what do you enjoy the least? Why are we speechless? This is a first.
The least, that's easy. Uploading it, scheduling it, putting all the information in, putting the tags in. That is where I suck. That is what I'm not good at. I'm not good at hashtaggy, which I don't do, and the social medias, and then spreading it here, and then putting the thumbnail there and there and there. I'm horrible at that. The metrics and all that stuff. I don't know how to do that. My channel could probably be bigger if I had someone who know how to do that. So that's really not me. Then I do enjoy doing the produced track. I always see it as a chore because it takes quite a while to do a whole song, and then, actually the music part, that's fun. Once I have to put up the camera, it's like, got to film it, got to edit it, but that's okay. But the produced track, I like. The editing isn't really that super bad because it's being done live.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was a lot of work. It took a lot of processing power in taking all the SD cards and transferring it and all that stuff. Now, it's an utterly ridiculous setup where I have 10 cameras around me and they're all on at the same time. And you guys have to imagine it like a TV studio. It's literally, this is what it is. Next door, there's loads of screens and tons of hardware, and all the cameras are going in there. And my girlfriend Leslie sits there and switches live while we do it. And that gets recorded onto a hard drive, onto an SSD, which I just pull out of the recorder. I come down here, stick it into a slot, and then there's my video. And all I have to do is put some titles on and cut out a couple of but it's all these 10 cameras are already added together into one video, including the pedal that's cut out next to me. All that stuff is already in one video. If I had to do what I do in my videos with B-roll, as they call it, like when you see the back of the amp, film that, and do all that stuff. Or here's the back of the pedal, film that beforehand. I literally have an extra camera that films the back of the pedal as I do the video. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be able to do.
You definitely have one of the best looking YouTube channel, with all the cameras and the way you're panning across. And I tried to do that with a guitar the other week. I got one of the handheld gimbal things, and I tried to pan. I couldn't do it. It's good that you've got that rig. So did you have an interest in cameras before this, or is it something that came with being a YouTuber?
Oh, zero interest in cameras, and that really became yeah, when I started doing YouTube. Let me see, for example. Let me see if I can do this. I gotta turn this one on. Wait a second.
Someone said, "Am I in the UK?" No, I'm
So
in
that
New York City, but I'm from Suffolk, England originally. So that's why I've got a British accent right now.
so I got a camera right here, and it's tethered, and it's got an input and an output, so it's actually remote controllable from my computer or from Leslie's computer. What the crap? Yeah, I would switch to it if my computer. What happened? Wait a second.
You must have a lot of cables and things in that house.
It's utterly ridiculous. Ah, here we go. So let me see if I can do this. There you go. So I can switch to this camera now. And I can switch back and forth. But what we were talking about, for example, there's right there. Let's crank that up. There's just like one of the sliders. That's like the main camera right now that's filming me. So I can actually remote control that with an app if I wanted to.
That's cool.
But over there, let's do this. Here we go. There's the big slider.
Yeah, they're cool. I like those.
And that's like a 3-axis. It can go back and forth, all remote controllable, all programmable. And I now even have a little crane that can go up and down. And that head right there that's on it can actually be on that crane and all controllable with a laser guided focus and all that stuff.
That's amazing.
The thing you're looking at there is $4,000.
I was going to say, how much money have you invested in camera gear alone for your channel?
Right, we're back. Okay, wait. Little camera was holding without the lenses 1300, with the lenses 2K. I have 6 of those.
Wow.
And then I have 5 of the big ones and a whole bunch more. I'm gonna go like easily 100,000.
100,000 on camera gear?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I was going to say, how important do you think the production? I mean, you have such high production values, which obviously the companies like, where you review their products. How important is that? Because you see some videos that are successful with an old cell phone. Like, what do you think? What do you think people? I got a few friends that are now starting out. My friend Chris is in here. He's a performer like me in New York, and he's just uploaded his second video, and he's doing a great job just with his iPhone and just recording at home. I think the lighting is important, right? A decent camera, the content obviously is key, and your personality, obviously that stuff is the most important. But you're so at the extreme with your production values. I mean, how important is that, in your opinion?
It's not.
Okay. That's good to know.
I mean, I think if your channel has reached a certain level, I think it's laziness to not go and have your production value reflect where your channel is, because there's really no excuse to not get a better camera and good lighting when your channel has a certain level. But it's not important. A certain level is. Like, I don't think you'll ever get super mega big if you're using an iPhone and the iPhone mic to record videos about guitar gear.
Right.
I mean, you put a. I mean, the microphone, the vocal quality is important, because if we heard you with a mic at a distance reverberating in the room, it's very difficult to focus on the voice if there's a lot of reverb, which is why you're sitting right in front of a microphone.
I actually struggle with this. I want to get your opinion. So what I did is I clapped my hands. There's a lot of reverb in this corner of the room, so I've got these cheap foam pads which really help with that. And then this mic is cool. And I set up this. I used to record in front of a fake wall on my left side here, and the videos look much better, but a lot of work to do. I set up this rig here just so I can go live and talk and make videos and just have it convenient. It's almost like my Sony DSLR is like a webcam. But this mic kind of like sometimes it blocks my face like this. So what mic are you using? And do you think it's a better option that I could have for my? I mean, this does sound very good and clear, and it's not reverberating because it's close.
Yes.
But it's kind of like.
But it does looks it looks
kind of Howard Stern.
stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what?
It's right.
So
in
what
front
can
of
I
your
use
face.
instead of this? What's an option that I could use instead of this microphone?
Give me a sec. Lav mics can work. I never like the sound of them. I have very high-end Sennheiser lav mics, and they're good for having to actually move around. So when I move around the room, a lav mic's good. But if you're stationary, I think it sounds a lot more natural when you're using a shotgun. So for the longest time, I used this NTG3 from Rode, which is a really good mic. You can also get the NTG 2 or 4, but this is about $550, $600, and it's kind of the they call it the poor man's version of the Sennheiser MKH416 P48. Which, wait a second, can we see this? Focus. There we go.
Okay.
So this is a microphone. It's about $1,000, and they literally use this in Hollywood for movies and stuff. It's a good shotgun mic, and I can absolutely recommend that. This is kind of they call it the poor man's version of this, but it also does a good job. What I use now, let's see if I can go up there.
I was going to say, what would I do with that? So it's above your head right now? Okay.
Right there. That's my Schoeps C-Mid Mini.
So I could just use a regular mic?
And on the wall, I have tried Orbit stuff on the wall, but yeah, you can use a mic stand, you angle it down, and I could even be further away. I mean, this is a very, very, very good mic. But if you're at a distance of about this far, not a problem at all. And this is about as professional a mic as it gets. I mean, this is about $2,000.
Wow. Okay. So you would recommend the other two?
But for me, for me, there's always like, where can I go? You know, the other two would totally do it, absolutely fine. But the question is, where can I go from here to make the next video even better?
Right? That's good. I have to look into that because visually, I don't want things blocking my face. You know, so that's a good thing.
You can absolutely do a video with an iPhone, and if people respond to it, I mean, I recorded a lot of videos in the beginning with a webcam on the pedal, and then I don't even know what I had as a main camera, probably the DSLR, cheap one. That's all doable. But if the channel starts to generate money, and the thing is, I have the drive to do better. Look at Harry, for example. Harry's crazy, if he's still in the chat. Right now I'm looking into a Sony A7 III, which is a very good camera. But Harry said, I want to be, for some reason I didn't quite understand something about cropping. He got the A7R III, which is $1,500 more. And he got two of them. So he spent $7,000 on the two cameras he uses.
His channel looks great. It really does. He's playing. I love his channel.
Well, he and he's very, very particular about the quality, and I really appreciate that. And he just hey Harry, he just invested like another $2,000 in lights.
$2,000 in lights.
He bought two. Well, they were on sale. Otherwise, they would have been like $2,600. Two LED panels. Really, really, really good ones. I've got a couple of those. But this is stuff that is like Hollywood level, film level lighting. It's not like something you can buy on Amazon. And someone says my camera's blurry.
That's
I don't think it is.
Don't be mean. I think she means the Skype, because it's over Skype, the Skype connection. You know, if you watch his channel, it's very clear. unless we just lost focus, maybe.
And hi, Aaron's mom. And Harry just moved his whole room on the other side of the room, and then did the put up amps and put up pedals on shelves on the wall and all this, and painted the wall, and then get this,
Let's see.
took it all down again.
Wow.
And painted the wall again with a matte paint, because it was a little bit shiny and it was reflecting too much. That's the level of pickiness he has to make his videos look right. He took it all down again and repainted the wall because it was a little bit too shiny. And it bugs me when someone that, again, we're talking about making money with it, makes money with it, has hundreds of thousands of subs, and I'm going to say a name, Mr. Chapman. Okay? Rob has done a lot for our community. He has paved the way for a lot of what we do, and we owe him a lot. But continuously being in a room that's super reverberary and filming with his iPhone, and I don't think it's serving his viewers and even respecting the viewers in a way, because they have to concentrate hard on what he's saying because there's a whole room reverberating. There's certain aspects for a video that are important, which is you have to see what it is about. So show what it is about. Whether you're teaching, show the hand. If you're talking about a product, show the product. And vocal has to be very clear and direct without reverb. And that's doable on any budget.
Okay.
You can literally put up curtains, rugs. On any budget, you can get the room to be quieter. Lighting you can do on any budget. Okay, I go crazy. Harry went crazy. You can get construction lights. There are people doing amazing setups. Glenn Fricker, for the longest time, had 2 lights that he built himself out of like 2 neon bulbs and some reflective stuff, and it looked great. But having 760,000 subs or whatever Chapman has, and then kind of winging it when he's charging money for videos and even has people helping him, it's like, why?
I agree.
It's not necessary.
Let's give Harry a shout out, because I met Harry with you at NAMM, and I love his channel because I grew up in the 90s with that kind of music that he covers. So he does cover versions. His video is awesome. His production is awesome. He's got the pedals behind him, so you know clearly what it's about. He's got great quality video. The playing is great. The only question I have for Harry, though, is because he's doing all covers. So I've been going live lately and doing covers. I was so scared that I would lose my channel, like they'd shut me down for doing covers. That's not the way it works, right? If you do a cover, I've noticed you get a notification saying, hey, you've done a cover. There's been a claim. Usually they'll say you can share it with the writer. So maybe Harry can clarify that. But that's what I've been doing. But obviously, you're not going to make so much money from them. But we'll get into that. That's a question I had. Let me just see where I'm at. I've actually, believe it or not, got a list of questions here. Yeah, well, I'm going to come up to that stuff later on about making money. But let me move on to the next question. I was going to say, this kind of ties in what we were just talking about. What advice would you give to someone? So say as a musician now, because I felt like I was late to the party. So I was on YouTube 2008 and made a tutorial for a colleague of mine at this music school I worked at. And it got a lot of views. But I never saw the value in... I was one of the first people in my hometown on the internet and on MySpace. But I never saw the value of YouTube, because now I regret that. I wish I'd started earlier, but that's easy to say those things. But what would you say to someone now that's a musician that's thinking, right, I need to get online, I need to make a YouTube channel? Or we just kind of covered it with the gear that you need, but what would your advice be? What's the most important thing about starting a YouTube channel like in 2020?
Oh, it's very, very easy. Don't do it.
Oh, why? That's a bit negative, isn't it?
Because I want to make money. We don't need more competition. Don't do it. It sucks. It's a horrible job, and you die early.
Henning's actually a very supportive person, everyone. He's, but no.
No, I'm not. Oh. Go away. Don't do a channel. No, yes, I am supportive. I guess so. I'm sorry for saying that. Thank you for saying that. The question is, do we need, 300 gear channels competing against each other? The thing is, with anything else, once there's a certain amount of saturation, it's not a viable business model
But not
anymore.
just gear, not just gear.
Um,
Say there's someone in an orchestra right now that plays the harp, and they wanted to start
mhm.
playing harp music on YouTube, you know, like it.
I'm sorry. I'm going to laugh. I have to stop you right there. It's a bad example. Those people don't own computers. And I've dated the harp player, the principal harpist of the Boston Symphony. Uh, they do not in any way understand technology, have no TVs, don't know what an SD card is, probably have flip phones.
I agree.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying. I
Because we
get what
like
you're saying.
gear, we like computers, we like technology. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
Uh, the thing is, nowadays, for anything that you want people to know, you have to do a video. There's no write a song, write the best freaking song you can write. How are you going to make people listen to it? Put it on SoundCloud? Okay, let's do that test. Write a kick-ass song, put it on SoundCloud, on Facebook, and see who listens to it. I can tell you, I'm not going to listen to it because it's SoundCloud. It's just a song. It's boring.
Right.
Music alone is boring now to people. And then you make a video on YouTube where it's literally you in the kitchen doing the dishes. This would actually be a test we should do. Doing the dishes while the song plays. And then you post that video on Facebook. I guarantee you more people will listen to the song if there's a video associated with it than if it's
It's
just the
interesting you
music.
say that because a lot of people have started podcasts, and you've started one too. I've been listening to it; it's very good. But same thing with that. Like you just went live with that this week. But some people make the podcast and then they have it on YouTube with the video while they're doing it, like we are now, and they post it as a podcast. But that seems to be a new thing. Like some people are getting away from video. I guess it's easier, right? It's easy to make a podcast. There's no video to do. You just talk for an hour and upload it.
A podcast is super simple. You just record audio and upload it. However, there isn't really unless you have a lot of subs on the podcast and numbers, there isn't really a way to monetize that because iTunes isn't going to pay you for it, or Podbean podcasts are free. So if you want to make money with that, I don't quite know how you turn that into uh, into a revenue stream. I started the podcast because I like to hang out with Dave and Michiel, and it's a way for us to meet regularly in chat. But also, Phil McKnight is putting his Friday night live streams on as a podcast. And apparently, people love to listen to that on the way to work and whatever. And I thought, well, why not do a podcast? But I didn't want to take my regular programming and then just upload that. I wanted something that is purely podcast. I actually kind of want to keep it separate.
Yeah. I'll turn the iPhone off, the screen off, and just listen to videos. That's kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that now.
So, advice to people. My point about the SoundCloud is, if you do music, you have to kind of have a video for it so people listen to the music. And whether that is your band playing and it's not even synced, or some cats or whatever doing their thing while you have the music there, you need the video. That means, where do you park the video? On Facebook? Well, first of all, Facebook audio quality is horrible. And secondly, that really only goes to your Facebook friends. So you're going to park the video on YouTube because you can link to that and embed it in a website and link to it from Facebook and all that stuff. So whatever you do nowadays, if you're in media, it's probably going to end up in a video on YouTube. So if you're a band and you want people to hear your music, you're going to have a video to accompany it. It doesn't have to be a fully produced music video, but some moving pictures. Because I guarantee you, if you post just the music, no one gives a crap. So as a band, yeah, have a YouTube channel. If you do lessons, of course, YouTube channel. A lot of people use their YouTube channel to funnel people into their lesson programs. So if you're a teacher and you have a really good lesson program, my friend David Wallerman is very successful with that. His YouTube channel is great, but it's more the teaser videos for his courses. And then he collects people for his newsletter and sends them, the new courses with the newsletter, and then they sign up for his program. So that works really well for him. So if you're teaching, that's great. But the thing is, there are already a lot of teaching channels out there. And the question again is, how many more do we need? Does every guitar teacher need a YouTube channel where they teach guitar? How many videos on the pentatonic scale do we need?
We're getting more and more and more, aren't we?
I have,
More and more all the time.
I mean, I have a 37 lesson course on blues scale, really building up. It's on my channel. It's free. Very, very few clicks because my channel is gear. If I upload that's the other thing. Your channel has to be branded. I've talked to a couple of school kids on several occasions now. I've been invited to schools to talk about YouTube, and I say the thing about YouTube is very, very, very niche programming, so that you know exactly what you get when you watch that channel, and it is so niche that even guitar overall isn't enough.
Right.
So when you're looking for model trains, you're not looking for the channel that does model trains. You're looking for the channel that does model trains in the scale, because there's, wars between the model train scale people. There's O scale and H, O, and whatever. They hate each other. So you're looking for the channel that supports your scale, and then you watch that channel. And if that channel all of a sudden does something about a different scale, you're not interested because it's not your thing. Now, what I do is gear. And a lot of the gearheads don't necessarily, your mom gives you money. That's nice.
Yours doesn't?
Not on YouTube. When I do gear, and a lot of the gear people, I'm not generalizing, but I'm generalizing, they don't even play. They like buying gear. They're very rudimentary players. They just like buying gear and they enjoy gear, and there's nothing wrong about that. Okay? If you buy big ass rims for your car, they do nothing to the performance of the car. You just like big ass rims, and that's fine. Buy them. So the people that love these gear channels, some of them, a certain percentage, they're not interested in a lesson on that channel, because that would mean they have to actually pick up the guitar and play. Okay? Obviously, a lot of the people watching me and watching you, we also play. But some don't. And you can clearly see that when a gear channel all of a sudden does lessons, the clicks aren't there. Why? Because the people come to the channel for one thing. They want to see gear they can't afford, gear they already bought, and they want to know that whether it's good or not, or they want to be told you did the right thing buying it. And then they get mad when you critique it. People that can't afford the gear but want to see it. People that are interested in buying it. There's many people, but a lesson might turn them off. And now you have a lesson channel. Other way around. Robert Baker, 5 licks that are cool, whatever. Robert teaches things. If he does gear, doesn't do well, because there's the other kind of player, the people that have their 2 guitars and the 1 amp, and they're interested in making music, playing, getting better. All of a sudden, their channel where they get better every day, and they use his input, all of a sudden he's talking about gear. They're like, I'm not interested in gear. I don't have money. I don't want to see that video. I want to see Robert teach me 5 new licks. So when you do something on YouTube, it is very niche and very specific. The one unifying factor can be the personality. If you're looking at Red and Link, for example, they do a variety of different stuff on, what is it, Mythical Morning, their show.
Yeah, sure.
But it's the personality that people go to.
Yeah.
So I get the clicks I get from people that are not necessarily interested in the actual topic are people like freaking, Aaron, the other Aaron, who they'll watch whatever I do because they just enjoy the show.
That's a good point.
But what I can tell
go ahead.
What I can tell people starting YouTube is pick the thing that you're super passionate about, that you can talk about that you're confident about, and build an audience around that. And then don't go and try tons of different formats once you've established that audience, because you've established that audience because of the stuff you've done. If Harry all of a sudden started doing gent covers, his audience are indie people. They like Oasis for reasons that I don't know. And if all of a sudden he was doing Periphery covers and he's doing it extremely well, his 60-something thousand subs would go like, excuse me, that's not why we subbed.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So,
and actually, it's interesting you say that because it's something I thought about doing. But I feel like as someone with 4,500 subs, I'm still kind of finding my way. But I don't want to alienate the
yes.
people that have subscribed. But a lot of my subscribers I got from my live gigs. I have cards I hand out at live gigs. So a lot of those people want to see songs. I never did songs. I did the gear without the songs. Now I've started to do songs. I don't know. I guess in the beginning you are kind of finding your way, but you've got a good point. You need to have a thing and stick to it. I think that is a great point. Right? You need your niche, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd have to find out why are people watching you, and then do more of that. And it's almost impossible to chase the YouTube algorithm and predict what does well. Videos where I would go like, oh my God, they're going to explode because this is so damn cool. No one cares about it. And then I have some crap video that isn't even well shot and whatever, and all of a sudden gets the clicks. It's very unpredictable. But you have to figure out why are people watching you. And for me, part of that was stupid sweaters. Well, if people comment on the sweaters, I'll do more of that. But if people watch you because of songwriting, like songwriting lessons and you in the acoustic and giving them advice on songwriting, then your audience becomes the singer-songwriter guy. And they couldn't give less of a crap about gear.
Yeah.
You can tell them about acoustic guitars and something that's pertains to them, but don't start talking about pedals.
Well, it's interesting to see. Like the good thing on YouTube is you can see how many views you've had and likes and dislikes. And I noticed acoustic amp versus acoustic amp, loads of views. People want to see versus videos, that kind of stuff. So you can really see what they're interested in. But I don't know, that's hard. And I can see like people hit might hit like 100,000 and then think, okay, what do I do next? Shall I write a course? I was going to say to you, you've got a degree in production. Have you not thought about doing videos on production? Okay.
I've done them. I have a 3-part series. I think that I did live and then uploaded again, edited on drum programming. I could do tons of stuff on production and plugins and all that stuff, but that's not my audience. They want to see the new pedal and the shiny guitar with a nice top. As I just told you, we're doing live streams of full album production. No one's ever done this. It's never been done that people can follow an album from day one to the end with a band in the studio, 17 cameras set up, and they can follow in 7-hour sessions the whole album production, seeing the screen, seeing the drums being programmed and the guitars. And we spent 2 full sessions writing and producing a song, which we then scrapped because it didn't fit the album. People are writing lyrics with us in the chat. It's never been done to have full insight into everything that's going on, us fighting, all that stuff. But I don't have a lot of clicks on those.
Interesting.
Because it's not the people that watch it saying, oh my God, this is giving me so much insight into how music is created. But it's not why people watch my channel.
Are you not going to do that anymore? Or are you going to just do it?
No, I'll do that because I mean it's easy content and we've started it, so we're gonna finish it. But yeah, I could absolutely do arranging lessons. I could do production lessons. I could talk about plugins all day long, all that stuff. But it is not what my channel was built on.
Okay, so you're trying to stick to your thing, but do that stuff, just around it.
I could probably do the thing is, me as a guitar player, I'm average. Me knowing about pedals and amps and stuff, don't really care too much. They all sound good.
Okay.
I'm not a super ultra gear nerd. If you want to hear me talk with confidence about what I really know and have proven that I really know what I'm doing, it's production. It's producing a song and song form and coaching a singer and get the most. I mean, I had James Labrie and Sebastian Bach behind my microphone, 2 extremely respected singers, and everyone said they've never sounded as good as when they were in Henning's studio. So yeah, I can talk about that with confidence, but it's not what my channel is based on.
Okay.
So I would actually be more, I think, more knowledgeable in a different field than guitar, but this is what I do now. The guitar is what I established, and you cannot change the format. And I simply do not have the time to do a second channel. It's just not gonna happen.
It's a great point, and you know, to further that, like I was promoting my channel at my shows in the city, and then I was scared to upload a gear review because I knew the people watching me at the bar wouldn't want to see it. They're like, "What's that?" You know, so that's the problem you can run up against. And then it seems counterproductive to not promote a video or not allow the notification to go out, because then that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, you need to know who your audience is and grow that, definitely.
But you're at 4,400. You still have a way to go to find out which videos did really well.
Yeah,
you know,
still testing.
And are you the acoustic guy that knows all about acoustic stuff? And I don't really think there's enough acoustic channels. Are you the modeling guy? I hope not. Has your Sin 30 arrived?
Yeah, I got it. It's great.
Awesome.
I got it with the ODS, and then I got the Ecstasy after that. And what I'm doing is, I was planning on doing like an analog, like a board, but I've just found, just for convenience, the Helix in 4-cable method as a switcher and an effects unit is awesome. That's what it does so well. And then the modeling stuff can be used as a backup or recording or whatever. But I just recorded something the other day. I tried it. I tried the amp in the room. I tried the amp through an IR in the Helix, which is also cool. The actual amp can go through an IR in the Helix and then into your PA.
Mm-hmm.
That was decent. And then straight in, it's good for recording, but I didn't like it as much. I just like the feeling of, even at a low volume, of having a speaker in the room. It's just, you're right. It's just
I mean, you in New York, you would have to get it to a halfway decent volume to record with a mic and actually get the benefit of that.
Right.
But that ecstasy module is just absolutely utterly ridiculous. I'm gonna run to the bathroom for a second.
Okay.
Otherwise I'm gonna pee myself.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I'll take over. I'll just talk about that while you're gone. So we were at NAMM, and Henning showed me the Synergy stuff, which is very interesting concept. It's actually I should turn his mic off just in case we hear him. It's actually an amp, or it's a whole rig. You can get like just a bay where you just put the 2 preamps in, or 1 preamp, and you can add it to an amp. It's a whole different solution. The one I got was a combo amp, which is a clean channel, and then you can add 1 more module. So I did get the ODS, which is like a Dumble style amp. So you've then got 3 channels, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a combo amp with 3 independent channels, and it's got MIDI. So you can then control those channels from something like a Helix and add effects and place them wherever you want. You can even run an IR from the Helix to front of house and have the real preamp sound of the Synergy, but coming through front of house. So it's a really nice hybrid setup. It's really cool. The only thing I was going to say to Henning is, I don't know if he can hear me still, is I like the ODS, I like the Ecstasy, and I think with the Helix you can make any of these things work for you, because the Helix has stuff in there too you can add. But I still wonder, like, did I get the right module? Like, I'd love to try all the modules, and Henning will say he's reviewed them all, but it's really cool to have the modules and actually try them. I just gave a rundown of the Synergy. Oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I just gave a quick rundown of the Synergy and what it is. And I was saying, the only thing is, I kind of wish I had all the modules so I could try them all. Because in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, like, is that the right one? But the good thing with the Helix is, of course, you've got the EQ and the drives in there. You can always add in to kind of do stuff. But
the Ecstasy is an amazing... I mean, I could do almost everything I need to do with the Ecstasy, unless you want to do like, brutal modern metal. That thing is absolutely ridiculous. From really low gain to high gain singing leads. Let me ask you something. So primarily when you gig, is it electric? Is it acoustic? I know you play a lot of acoustic and you know a lot of acoustic stuff.
My focus definitely is acoustic. Of course, that's a small market, but my thing is acoustic simply because I do the solo singer looper thing as a job,
But is that a small market? Because realistically, I don't know of many channels that do acoustic at all, or review acoustic stuff and then do it well.
But guitarists don't seem. I mean, like that's the thing. I spoke to the guys from Boss and some other companies, and I say to them, "Please do more for acoustic, singers and guitarists acoustic." And some of them have told me. Boss told me he says such a small market, such a small market. I'm like, really? Like Ed Sheeran and these people, like, isn't that like a big thing? Like, don't kids do that? I don't really understand why the Helix and those kind of things are such a big part of companies, because okay, you've got the lot of bedroom guitarists now, but there's also a lot of acoustic players and singers, right? But they don't seem to. I mean, TC Helicon were a great company. They're not doing much anymore. But why are more companies not doing stuff for people like me? I don't know.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that such a small market. Because think about it, every electric guitar player very likely has an acoustic guitar. Right? I mean, we all have an acoustic.
How many do you have? Acoustic guitars?
Acoustics? I mean, I don't really count, but I probably have like 5, 6.
Okay. But electrics, you probably have like 50, right?
Yeah, 70, but right. I don't count.
Right. You've lost count.
But let's say, but no, I mean, I don't count. I mean, I'm not, the average guy. But let's assume, the average guitar player maybe has, let's say, I don't know, 2 to 5 electrics and maybe one acoustic. But they have one acoustic.
Yeah, totally.
So, but then a lot of people that have acoustic guitars don't necessarily have electrics.
Or a pickup. Or
I would think that
pickups.
Most electric players, probably 90% of electric players also own an acoustic. But a lot of singer-songwriters and acoustic players that have bought an acoustic don't necessarily have an electric, because that means you have to have an amp and all that stuff and the effects, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So how can it be such a small market when there's, as players, very likely more acoustic players, because every electric player is an acoustic player, but not every acoustic player is an electric player.
And acoustic players often just buy the guitar with a pickup, plug it in and go. They don't want pedals. They don't understand pickups and things like that.
So there have to be more acoustic players. So I'm thinking there's a good market for acoustic players in terms of videos. And especially, let me ask you this. Wait a second. I need to answer Leslie, who's asking, are you done? No, I'm not. How do I type here? Are you when you gig? Is it your own material or do you cover?
Oh no! So I started off in a band as a kid, a teenager, and then I realized that I could do solo gigs because I played guitar in the band and sang. I realized I could go out solo, so I wouldn't use any pedals. I was like most acoustic guitarists back then. I wouldn't use any pedals. I believed you should plug straight into a PA with your piezo pickup, and that was that. And then over the years, I've gotten more and more into gear, and I started looking for like pickups, and that's why I started reviewing acoustic guitar pickups, and then looping just to make it more interesting for myself. So I got into the TC Helicon stuff. And that's why I'm into the acoustic thing now. But some acoustic players just don't seem to care about it. Like I have a guy on this week on an interview who makes the tone dexter. So that will actually create an impulse response of your guitar and your pickup and allow you to play that through the PA. That's really cool technology for an acoustic player or a singer-songwriter. But I mention this to some people and they just don't seem to get it. Some people, take John Mayer. He's a complete gear nerd, but he will play a Matrix undersaddle pickup through the PA. I think he uses a preamp, but it sounds like a pickup. Why doesn't he care about acoustic guitar IRs and pedals and things? I don't know. It's they seem to be some of the acoustic guys are purists.
But you can say the same thing about electric players. There's electric players who just don't care about gear.
Right. Okay. True.
But the thing is, it depends. I think how you package it. Now, you write your own songs. Right?
Yeah.
And you sing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I imagine what I thought would be really cool is someone not just giving me all the stats about the wood and the Sitka spruce and then the something and who gives a crap, it's an acoustic, they're all the same, but I mean, actually giving me something realistic. It would be great if you can play like Tommy Emmanuel and do the fingerpick and all that stuff, but realistically, what do people use acoustics for. They write a song and they put a capo on and they actually write a song. Now, that's what I would want to hear. Give me performance of an actual tune with vocals. Do what you usually do, but play the acoustic. And then you take that same song, record it with 4 acoustics, and you intercut back and forth. And all of a sudden, I have a comparison.
Yeah.
I have a comparison. So use the same 5 songs all the time. And then once you've done 3 or 4 reviews, do one where you cut between a $200 acoustic and a $2,000 and whatever, and a small one, big one, and see how it complements your voice. And then do the same thing in context.
Totally.
Do the same thing with drums and bass and see how the acoustic cuts through. Use it. For me, it's always like actually using the gear in a realistic context. And that means to me, with an electric guitar, not playing solo stuff.
That was my.
I used Tom James.
That was my mission statement from the beginning that I told people at NAMM was that. Like I have the product, I take it to different venues and bars and play it there, and then I review it. I didn't have footage of that at the time, but I could come on the camera and say, right, I used this for a week around different venues, and this is my experience. So it was like first hand, rather than just sitting in this room. Because I've noticed from lately, I've been doing a lot of videos with the headphones on, and a lot of the pickups I've been playing through sound great because I've been doing a lot of stuff with headphones. But it's about the room, how it reacts to the room, how it works for you, any issues you have, how the battery life is. All these things are real world things.
Exactly.
Right. That's been my thing.
I think for an electric, I do go play over an elevated jam track from Tom James. Elevated jam tracks, Tom James, really good on YouTube. Check it out. And I noodle over it and really just never even listen to the track before. That takes 5 minutes. I'm done. I have a produced track. But if I really produce a track with left right guitar, and then a solo in it, and then the clean, and really produce it, that to me shows how it's going to sit in a mix for real music. And some people lately have said, "What's it with the singing? We want to hear the guitar." I'm like, yeah, in a song. Songs are with vocals.
Right.
Like, when do you ever just play rhythms or a song has a solo? Maybe, but I mean, the solo capabilities of a guitar are not really what's gonna matter in real life.
You introduced me to when we were at Synergy. I met the guy from Hughes and Kettner. I think he's a friend of yours. Mm-hmm. And he said, "What do I do?" And I said, "I talk a lot about acoustic guitar and amplification and that kind of stuff, as well as other gear." And he said, we need someone to demo the Era amps with vocals and guitar and compare them. So I've got those I've got those waiting for review right now. And that's exactly what he wants me to do. He wants me to sing and awesome. Play and compare both of them in one video. It's exactly what you're saying. So yeah, that is a cool thing. The electric thing.
Rich is a great guy.
Yeah, the electric thing was only ever like for band gigs, which for me, like the way the acoustic is to some electric players, the electric is to me. So if I get a band gig, a 3-piece band gig, I'll play electric. So I've actually spent a lot more time on the electric rig than I probably should have done. But I have come to the conclusion from all this that I do like having that combo behind me. Because I don't use in-ears. I probably should, but I don't. So I like to have that amp there. And mm-hmm. I do think, I mean, I almost reached out to you and said, I might make an analog board. What do you think? But I just find the Helix, the way it controls it, switches it. If your amp breaks, it's got those amp models in there you could use. It's a great tool. They did a great job with that thing as a switcher and an effects unit and a kind of, for demoing and stuff or going to the front of the house. They did a great job. But I think some people have gotten away from real amps now and have kind of gotten this thing of, modeling is better and more convenient and cheaper. But I don't think it is. I think that real amp in the room is, I think some people have forgotten how good that is, in my opinion.
100%. People that are like, oh my God, I'm modeling and it's so good and so good. They realistically don't have the A-B comparison. Because if you're here, where I can have, people of course compare it with, as you said, in the room. Well, in the room with a cab, a real amp with a cab will always smoke a Helix. But even when you're taking an amp into an aux through the monitor speakers where I'm sitting, and then you switch to a Helix, there are differences. People just don't have both to go A-B. And even if you go turn one off, turn the other one on, recable, that 30 seconds or minute, it's too long for real A-B. And there are still differences between modeling. But got a Helix sitting over there. It's a great piece of gear because it is convenient, has everything built in. There's absolutely something to be said for that. I recorded a little track yesterday for Glenn Fricker, for a video he's doing in a month, with a free piece of software from STL Tones. It's called Emissary. It's a free amp. And I used one of his IRs, went straight in the computer. Wow, it was amazing. Free. There's some really, really good stuff out there. But if you can't play a real amp, it's always more fun.
Software does sound good though, doesn't it? When you hear software recorded on YouTube and stuff, I hear recordings of modelers.
Yep.
It sounds really good. But then when you play it in the room, it's like I find that with some presets and things too. They sound great on the video, and then I play them up through my PA speaker. I'm like, it doesn't sound the same. I think in the room it's nice to have the real amp, definitely.
It's just not where that synergy that you have, which is as good as it gets amp, with that Bogner module, it's tough to beat that. It really is.
Yeah, and I love having the three independent channels is a real big thing for me too.
However, have you seen the video I did yesterday?
Of the comparison video?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched it last night and I really enjoyed it because the rig you used was a very affordable. You used a phone, right, to record it, and you compared it to like a multi-$1,000 rig. And I honestly, I had that moment of like, if you didn't tell me, I just wouldn't know. And some people do that with Helix and Kemper too, which is which, and you just don't know. And then they tell you which is which, and you think you knew, and it's all gets a bit silly, and it's all a bit of like that video you made proves it's not about how much money you spend.
Exactly.
It's about the music, isn't it? It's always about the music and what you create. The gear is fun.
It was also it's a simple track. It's kind of a classic rock thing, which does forgive a lot. If this was a pop thing or a metal thing, it might be different because with a pop thing, you need much more flexibility from your rig than that 1-watt amp could give you. But the test was a 1-watt amp, put it on it, and then drag the files over. The trick is, and that's what comes down to it. You have to know what you're doing, because EQing those files was a bitch. I really had to go in and pull down certain mids, which were very bitey, roll off the high end, boost the lower. I mean, you have to know what you're going for, which of course I know what I'm going for. But yeah, there was $430 versus 12,000.
That's crazy.
And most people like the cheap setup more.
But you're absolutely right. If you EQ something wrong, I actually did want to do some videos on EQ, because a lot of my acoustic friends, they have certain pickups that kind of pick up the whole top of the guitar, and they just say, oh, it gets feedback and stuff. Yeah, but if you EQ it correctly, you can get rid of all that. Sounds amazing. So if you have an amazing guitar with but you EQ it really badly, it will sound terrible. If you have a really bad rig, but because you've got production knowledge, you knew how to get the best out of that phone recording, and it sounded great. But the problem is if you don't know. But yeah, I think we need more knowledge with the gear sometimes. We do need that.
I even use the built-in EQ that Cubase has. But realistically, someone who has that rig, super cheapest rig, doesn't even have an audio interface, records with their phone, they will not have the knowledge to know what to do with it. Realistically, that person doesn't have the experience to know what to do with it. But the video proved that it is possible, and it is in the player and the song, and the song wasn't in any way worse. It worked. I would put that on an album just like I would put the expensive recording on an album. Here's something that I'm going to change the topic for a second because I think it would be really cool to do. And you said don't say the C word, and I'm not going to say the C word.
They know what it is.
So in times of the Rona, we're all at home, and I made videos on the weekend about let's make music together. One where I'm teaching a riff that came out on Friday. I teach a riff and said, people record it. You can't win anything. And I already had a couple of people sending that in. That was so cool. Someone played the whole song, recorded the song, played it better than I could. I was blown away. And then and that's something that I actually want you to be part of. Something I did on Saturday, uploaded drums and vocals and removed everything else from the song. And I told people, go ahead and fill in the gaps. It's in C minor, E flat major, do whatever. And I've already had a couple of people sending it in,
Very
and
cool.
the versions are drastically different. It's so funny. From brutal metal to someone who got rid of the drums and accompanied just with piano and did a jazz version out of it, and it sounds fantastic. Complete reharmonization because they don't know the chords. So, my challenge to you, Aaron, is download those tracks, do your own version. You know,
Yeah,
figure
I'll
out
do
what
it. I'll do it on
works.
acoustic.
Absolutely, do it on
Acoustasonic!
acoustic.
Yay!
Do whatever. But everyone who sends me a video, it's going to be in a big video where I show everyone's version.
What's the deadline for that?
Whatever.
Okay.
When I have enough,
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
But I just want people to make music right now. And a lot of us are stuck at home. I mean, I am where I always am. I do what I always do. I make videos. For me, literally nothing has changed because I'm always in here and I don't really leave the house except for maybe walk the dogs, which I'm still allowed to do. But I know that for you, things have changed. For many of us, things have changed. So let's do this because you talked about production and live streams.
Yeah.
You record one of your songs, acoustic guitar and vocals, and give me maybe 3 tracks. Acoustic guitar, maybe a doubled acoustic, so I can pan them.
Okay.
And vocals with whatever you do, with harmonies, with whatever you want to do, and give me individual tracks.
Okay.
You send them to me, and then we're going to do a live stream where I'll arrange and produce the whole thing.
That'd be cool. Very cool. Okay. Because I just want to say, you know, talk about that. I'll try and make this summary. This is a whole summary of the last few years for me. A lot of people in groups on Facebook talking about like Helix versus amps. Look, they're not the same. When you hear the Helix through a PA, that's a mic in front of the amp you're hearing. When you hear the amp, the synergy in the room, you're hearing the amp in the room. It's a different thing. So that's the first thing. If you like the sound of a mic'd cab through a PA, that's great. I'm happy for you. I just like the sound of the real cab, right? That's the first thing. And secondly, right now we have had a huge increase in the one good thing that's happening out of this is a huge increase in creativity. And I noticed now that a lot of people on Facebook and even yourself, there's more music being, you know, I mean, as much as the gear reviews and everything are great and everything else, so I did feel for a while last year that some Facebook groups and places can end up being a bit just gear. How do I do this? Gear. It's all like a science project. What happened to the music? What, you know, the songs that Harry's covering from the 90s, those guys and girls didn't care about gear. They went to a rehearsal room, cranked up the amp and wrote a great, in my opinion, they wrote great songs, which inspired me because I love those 90s bands. I used to feel the energy. They just got up and just played the song. Now we're so about, you know, how many volts is it? How many watts is it? All this stuff. So I'm not preaching here, but I do think it's good. It's great what you're doing to involve, you know, your viewers to play on your track and produce them. It's a nice thing.
People do get a lot too into the detail, and I can't play this guitar if it doesn't have a blah 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 compound radius. Oh, shut up! Just play the damn thing, you know. And I deliberately did the cheap versus expensive gear video, which should have come out weeks from now. But I deliberately did it yesterday, right after the other 2 videos. If people are sitting at home saying, "Oh, I can't record a track for Henning, a Henning song because I don't have the right guitar, or I don't have this, or I don't have this," I got an entry this morning from China. I think it's a Brit who now lives in Shenzhen, and he hasn't played guitar in a long, long time. Download the track. And he has a 30 euro Behringer interface, a guitar that he bought for 20 bucks, a bass he bought for 20 bucks or 30 bucks. So his whole setup with guitar, bass, and audio interface and everything is under 200 bucks. And he recorded the song. And he sent me the thing. It was brilliant. You know, he's making music in his very sparely furnished, brand new place in China. He said it motivated him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I spent 2 hours with Sophia trying to show her how to set up her system because she wants to record the song.
Yeah.
So
that's great. That's great. It's pushing people to make music again, and even me. I never went live before this, so I've been going live every day, and I've been doing interviews. I've got loads of interviews scheduled. I'm actually really enjoying the interview thing right now. I'm really getting a lot out of it. But I've also been going live at the weekends and playing my bar gigs, which I'm not doing right now, on the camera. And okay, I'm not going to make money because they're covers, but
Mm.
it's forced me. Like some of my friends and family, like, why do you talk about pedals? Okay, again, got to find my niche. But some of my friends and family are saying, please play some songs, and it's forced me to do that. And I'm much more focused on the music right now. I think a lot of people are. I'm seeing people streaming concerts. I'm seeing people, YouTubers like you doing those projects. I hope you continue to do them, maybe once every month or every 3 months in the future. I think it's nice to bring it all together back to what the whole point is. I think sometimes we get, I'm guilty of spending more time reading about guitars and ordering them than playing them. I think that's something that can happen. Did you see Tone King the other night? He had a thing where a magazine had an article about, are we buying too many guitars and hurting the environment, below an ad for Gibson. And he was saying that's disrespectful. And I agree with that. It's kind of a silly placement to have an article if you're selling ads for companies, right? But at the same time, I do think, I didn't really say this on his chat, but I do think the article had it had relevance, just the wrong place to put it. And also, I don't want to, again, I don't want to preach to people, but personally, I'm glad to be back to talking with musicians like you, making music. Of course, I still love the gear. I'm still reviewing the gear, but the focus now is more on the music. And I think that's a really great thing that's come lately. It really is good.
And we can do both. I know that on my channel, if I do more music related stuff, it's always going to get less clicks. The people that have seen my lessons, so if you haven't seen them, look for them. Pentatonic
Yeah, I will.
basics, pentatonic sequences. There's tons of them. They say they're among the best they've seen on YouTube, and they absolutely love them. But they're not very popular because I have a gear channel. Now, if I do a production live stream, which I really know how to do, it's not as popular because it's not about gear. But I still do it because I wanna. I mean, I have done full band live streams from here. Check from last year or 2 years ago. I had full bands in here. We did full live streams with a full band. I spent thousands on mixers and all that stuff to actually have bands play here live.
Yeah.
And I've done that from here. And not a lot of clicks, but in the end, it can't. We also have to use the gear we buy.
Yeah.
So, if people really like the thing I did on Saturday, where here's some tracks, play something for it, record it. That would be really cool. So again, if you want to go ahead and do it, you can have some fun with it. I have some people that are loving the song, and it's not even about the song. Just let's do something. And so you go ahead, do it ASAP. So maybe we can do it towards the weekend.
Yeah.
Record one of your songs.
Okay.
All the acoustic and vocals.
Okay.
And then send me the tracks. And also, I mean, I know you know how to do it. Send me video of the acoustic performance and the vocal performance.
Yeah. Actually,
so that I can.
I had a story where I met Kenny Rogers' family on one of my gigs a few months ago, and Kenny passed away last week. So I've actually been doing that with some friends. My old band in England, they've been recording parts at home, and I've recorded them. And then Nathan, who was in the chat earlier, he's gonna do that for me. So that, again, another project I probably wouldn't have done before, because people have time right now, right? So yeah, I'll definitely do that. So you want the guitar tracks, the vocal track, and also you've got your other thing going on right now where we can submit, anyone can submit their guitar part to your latest video, right? We'll check that out too. So everyone should do that.
Yeah.
Like a collaboration.
Just for fun, and then you send it to me. The email is in the video, and you can't win anything, but it's like I'll make a video showing entries from all around the world and what people did with the song, because again, it's just the drums and the vocals, and then you listen to the vocals and you try to find out, what works, and let's push it in all different directions. I mean, remix it as a techno thing. I don't care. Let's just create with these bits something. And the cool thing is, since it is the same tempo and the same key, I'll be able to intercut all these different versions. So we could go from like a death metal version to like a jazz version, and just cut back and forth.
Yeah, I love that. But with your lessons you did, there's no reason why in 5 years' time they might not suddenly get that's a good thing with videos. Sometimes you make a video and you feel like, oh, no one really watched it, but it could always pick up in the future, right? You never know.
It could, but then there's the YouTube algorithm. So the algorithm knows who to push my videos to, and those videos, if someone's looking for a pentatonic lesson, will not be presented to those people, because My videos go to whatever YouTube determines who wants to watch my videos, and that's not people looking for pentatonic lessons.
I see.
So
That's
we are all
interesting.
slaves of that algorithm.
So it is important to have a niche. That's what you're saying with that. Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Okay, listen, guys, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We've had like 30, 40 people in the chat here. We're going to sign off soon, but if you've got any pressing questions for us, please just post them right now. And I did want to cover more about monetization and all that and working with companies, but I know there's other interviews out there, so we don't need to go into that today. So check out those on YouTube with Henning, because I found one last night. It was really interesting where you're talking about you don't want to do contracts and ways to monetize. Obviously now we can do like affiliate links with different people and maybe even sponsorships. Have you done any sponsorships before?
A little bit, yeah. Just did that with DistroKid, and I think that's it so far. If you're interested in actually like how I turn this into a revenue stream thing, 2 or 3 weeks ago on the podcast, there's a whole episode about how I make money.
Okay, great. That's perfect then.
Completely transparent. It's the animals at the end. HP42 animals at the end, AATE. You can get that on the Google Play and Podbean and Apple Podcasts, and even I think Spotify. So the Animals at the End podcast, and there's an episode about how I make money if you want to know how affiliate links and all that stuff works. We talk about that in great detail.
Awesome. So do us a favor, subscribe to Henning's podcast. I've got it on my iPhone on Apple Podcasts.
Talking about subscribing, I have I just see that that subscription button
on my channel, right?
That's on your channel. When that's red, that means I haven't subscribed, right?
So Henning is not a subscriber. But that can be changed with a click of a finger.
It has been changed. I'm not clicking the bell, by the way. Screw you.
But
that's not going to happen.
Everyone else should click the bell and join me for my other interviews and streams and videos. Ring that bell. I want to say thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this. I hope the viewers did too. I think they did. It looks like they did. Thank you for your super chats. I really appreciate that. That's really appreciated. Thank you for subscribing. Please share this with your friends. I think that they'll find it interesting if they're into YouTube and gear. And I just want to say thank you, Henning, for your time. Really, really appreciate it. You've been great. Awesome.
Anytime. To everyone out there, if you're watching someone do a live stream right now, like Aaron, like anyone, remember, this is usually something they would be doing at a bar, at a club, wherever, where there's a drink minimum or a cover charge, and you would spend money there. So you would be at a club paying $5, $10, whatever the cover charge is. You would be buying a certain amount of drinks. You would leave money enjoying their music. Of course, also enjoying your girlfriend or whatever. But sitting at home watching them for free and just saying, oh, it's free anyway, so why should I pay them something? It's not really, it's not really cool.
See, this is something I wanted to talk about, because I feel like when you start off at YouTube, you just want people to help you out and subscribe and maybe, lend you something to review. But as you get into it, you realize this is taking all my time. And this is actually a business. This is a career. Yes. I need to make money from this. I spend more hours on this now than I do on anything else. And so, yeah, do remember that. I'm not asking for money right now, but do remember that it takes a lot of time. And sometimes I get comments like, oh, well, you were sent that guitar to review, and I'll say, yeah, but I wouldn't have reviewed it if I didn't like it. So just bear that in mind.
But I'm not talking about YouTube. Me, for example, I am, as of yet, still getting paid by companies. I'm still getting affiliate money. So I am not dependent on any government. Whatever.
You mean right now? Yeah, obviously I'm not working right now.
Right now. Right now, what you're doing when you're sitting there playing covers live, because you can't go and do your normal gig. Right. If people watch you, do a super chat for $5.
Right.
Do half of what you would pay as a cover charge or drink minimum that you usually do. If you see someone on Facebook and you enjoy them and you watch them for half an hour because you think, oh, this is kind of cool, or a band, maybe write in the chat, hey, this is really cool. Do you have like a PayPal account or something? And don't give them $50. Do what you would usually pay your musician when you go and see a gig somewhere. Because I think if some of us did that, it would just really help.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk more about money but you've got that on your podcast, so maybe we can do this again sometime. Yes. But I don't want to keep you too long. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, but it's been really interesting, and we've covered some topics I wasn't going to, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much. We're going to say goodbye, And I'm sorry if I missed any questions that you wanted to ask. I'm sorry, but you can always ask them to Henning, of course, anytime. He's very approachable, and me too. So we'll wish you a good day. Have we got an animal at the end here, or is this no animals around today?
No, they're all at Leslie's, who wrote me half an hour ago that it's dinner time.
Okay.
So I'm going to get yelled at.
So Henning will be the animal at the end. Here we go. Animals at the end.